Hi, I'm Monica.
And I'm Mads.
Welcome to Bras Off, Walls Down, a space where women share their real, raw, and unfiltered stories.
No topics off limits. No story too big or too small.
Let's get into it.
Welcome back to the podcast. Hi, Mon. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm really excited because we have a guest today. We have Abbie on today. How are you today, Abbie?
I am well, thank you. Excited, nervous, excited, nervous.
Bit of both?
Yeah.
I'm excited too.
Yeah.
And I've had so many messages because I must have accidentally been hyping this episode up a lot. And I've had messages going, who is the guest? What's going on? I'm so excited. I want to find out. So we've done really well hyping this one up. I think.
Yeah.
Because when we get in and we let you know what Abbie does for a living, you'll see why I'm so excited. It's just a very different conversation to be having. And to be honest, I've always had so many questions, but just never the forum to ask them. So before we get into Abbie, tell us a little bit about you.
This question always gets me, but I don't know. I'm a 30-something mortician, cliche goth embalmer, I guess. I don't know. I like all the creepy stuff. I like all the macabre and just a big baby down at heart, really. But
Yeah. And you do some pretty wicked photo shoots.
oh yeah, I love my photo shoots. Yeah, that's my creative outlet. So
So for anyone that hasn't seen your photos, explain them.
I aim for I want you to look at them, be somewhat attracted, and then confused as to why you're attracted to them.
I love that.
Yeah.
Have I not shown you? I thought I did.
I think you just went like this
Yeah.
to her Instagram, and I was like, well, that looks cool. But I think we did other stuff as well.
I like to kind of push my limits on Instagram a little bit. Like, you know, Instagram, you get reported and taken down for the tiniest thing.
Have you been reported on stuff?
Yeah. No, you do get taken down for the tiniest, dumbest things. Like, it's silly.
And then in a very sort of horror-themed images.
I'm gonna
And if Abbie's okay, I'll share a few on the
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
This episode airs, so you can have a look and check them out because the detail in some of them is huge.
Yeah.
And I'm that person that loves horror film, but depending on the level is whether I watch it when the sun's up or when the sun's down.
Yeah.
I think I'm okay unless it could be real. If it could be real, that's when I'm genuinely scared.
Yeah.
But if it's just like gross, gory, I'm like, eh.
Yeah.
When it comes to the supernatural, and I feel like human beings are the scariest thing. So when horror movies and it's just humans being like messed up, they're the scary ones. But I love it.
Yeah.
The more weird people are, the better. I love it.
And before we ask you all the questions about being a mortician, because I'm so excited, I know so many people will have so many questions. The one question we love to ask everyone is, what is your most recent relatable, I'm just trying to survive life moment?
Right. Relatable? I don't know. Far out. Like, the first thing that comes to my mind, and it's kind of, it's not really a silly one, but I went to a festival over in Melbourne. It was great. It was not fest. Love heavy metal. But I bought this top from this girl off Depop, like 2 weeks in advance, trying to get this top. It was like a purple bikini top and it had spikes all over it. And I was like, this is a sleigh. Like, this is going to be killer for the festival. Like, I'm going to eat. Like, it's going to be great. And it took me a while to get this top because there was a bit like miscommunications, all this mess around. Ended up getting the shirt in Melbourne, like getting it delivered to the hotel the night before, not fest. Put this top on. I'm like, this is it. I'm winning. Anyway, going to the festival in an hour and they confiscated my top.
Wait, what?
Wait,
Because it had spikes on it.
Are you serious?
At a metal festival. They took my top.
What?
okay. The process of them asking you to take the top. And
So,
then did you walk around? You obviously didn't walk around topless.
No. So it was it was a win for me in a way because I am all about comfort. I'm a creature of comfort. So I was wearing like a jumpsuit anyway because it's a Slipknot festival. So I was like, I'm going to wear a jumpsuit and it's going to be cold because I'm always freezing. So I was wearing this like bikini top with the jumpsuit and security was like hovering around me and my friend for ages. And we were just like thinking they were looking at other people. And then they finally came up to me and they're like, look, we've been watching on the cameras and security has an issue with your shirt. And I'm like, it's tiny. Like, I can send you a photo. It's literally just a bikini top with little tiny studs on it. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, you got to take it off. It's like, we got to cloak it. And I was like, well, you're lucky I'm organized. I have a spare top in one of my pockets because I like to just like, you know, be comfortable at the end of the day. So I was like, I'll put this on. So I had to do that. And they're like, oh, look, we're going to go get you a merch shirt. because like we're putting you out. Luckily the lady was so lovely. She was a security, then she was a lady, and she was like, look, we'll get you a free shirt. So I got a free $6 merch shirt. So I was like, but I did get like, you know, escorted across the showgrounds to the cloakroom with my little freaking bikini top because, you know.
I've never heard of
What was their drama with it? What did they think you were going to do with it?
I was just going to start like, you know, hitting people with my non-existent boobies. Like, yeah. And I don't have a lot of boobs, so they weren't like out there, like, you know, going to be poking people's eyes out. But yeah,
and wild.
The first like festival I went to for Knotfest was a couple of years ago, and they did mention like no spikes, no this. But I got through the gate, I got through everywhere. I didn't see anything about no spikes this time around. So I was like, and they were teeny, and I was like, it's like a tiny top, it's not going to matter. No, I was escorted.
That's wild.
See, this is the type of concert, and that you have to forgive my like ignorance. But I would have thought you'd have the spiky heads on.
It's like goths, it's metalheads, it's like all the baddies with all the like cool outfits with the chains and the spikes and studs. But like when after it all happened, we were kind of like looking around, and I was like, yeah, there really isn't a lot of people with studs and spikes. But then I saw one of my mates who was over from Perth as well. And he had huge spikes on his shoulders, and I was like, why isn't your jacket confiscated? And he was like, oh. So, I don't know. I was targeted. Hate crime. Yeah.
Because I'm a woman.
Yeah, I don't know. But that was...
The fact that you were prepared, though, that's also...
Yeah, I hate being uncomfortable. I don't know what it is. But I was like, I'll just take a little tank top in my pocket just in case I get sick of wearing this. Because it was very, like, intricate and, you know, you had to keep tightening it. Yeah. And I was like, if I get sick of this, like...
Yeah, it's going to ruin your night.
Yeah, so I had a backup, luckily, and then I got fried, got a bit of a tan, which is horrendous for a goth. So, like, yeah, it was wild because just how much of a struggle I had trying to get this shirt as well from this girl off Depop. Like, even getting one of my friends to, like, message her and be like, hey, we're mutuals, like, what's happening with this top? Finally got it, like, at 9 o'clock the night before, and then for me to walk in and get it taken off me, I was like, what?
Oh, no, you have to wear it in a photo shoot or something.
Yeah, I'll have to. But, yeah, I got a free shirt. I did get, you know, escorted over the premises, but anyway, I got burnt. But...
It's going to be one of those, do you remember the time?
Yeah.
When you're 18, it's going to be great.
Yeah, and then I spent the whole day trying not to die of heat stroke, but it was, you know, it was a good... I forget all that now.
It was so much.
It was yeah.
If it's for goths, it would be, like, undercover.
No.
They know that you don't want to get burnt.
They're hateful. They gave us no marquees, nothing.
Sunscreen on the way in,
there was sunscreen, thankfully. And I had, you know, I was constantly putting sunscreen on, but it just, I don't know what happened in Melbourne that day, but it was wild because Melbourne's really, like, chilly, kind of cool. I looked at the weather, it was like 23. The next day it was like 29. I was like, what? And I love the heat. I'm like a lizard. So I just don't like the sun. The UV is not for me, but like heat, yeah.
Good, shade.
Yeah. Warm, fine. Sun, bad. Yeah. Especially when you see how pasty I am.
So, Abbie, you're a mortician.
I am.
Okay, I have so many questions, but let's start with how you became a mortician, why you decided to be a mortician.
I have absolutely no idea why. Everyone always asks me this question, like why I wanted to do it, and I was like, I don't know, I think I'm just a bit weird. But like the more I kind of delve into it, the more I think about it, I don't know, like in a way it's such an honor to help people in this like moment. Like you're obviously helping the families and you're helping the deceased as well. I never really knew that it was a job until I was, you know, probably in my later teens. And I went and studied makeup and I was like, oh, like I did special effects makeup and I was kind of like, I like making my alive people look dead. I was like, what if I can make dead people look alive? And that's kind of where I went into it. So I did my diploma, and started looking around for jobs like in the funeral homes. I just have a massive morbid curiosity as well. Like it's just fascinating to me. I've always been very interested in death and macabre and the taboo of it all. Don't know where that stems from, but we'll run with it. I've run with it now, so we might as well keep going. Like I did my diploma and started kind of like trying to get into the funeral homes, you know, putting my feelers out there. I went and did work experience when I was about 20, 21. And it was a massive eye-opener. Like I was so terrified because I was like, what happens if, you know, I've put, you know, this is what I want to do. Like, I don't know what I want to do, but now I've decided this is what I'm doing. What if I go in there and I freak out and I can't do it and I'm back to square one? You know, you're back at school going, what do you want to do when you're older? And I'm like, I don't know.
What was that first time like, being in front of your first dead body?
Yeah, so I remember the lady who I was doing the work experience with, she was just like, okay, so we're going to go grab Mr. Such and Such out of the fridge. And I was like, okay, like, yeah. I was like really excited, but I was also really nervous because you don't know how you're going to react.
Yeah.
Like, I love creepy stuff. I love horror movies, but seeing an actual real dead person is like a whole nother level. And she just like, before she like pulled him out, I was like, oh, by the way, I've never seen a dead person before. And she was like, oh, okay. And then, you know, it was a little bit like, she was like, all right, well, you know, this is, you know, gave me a bit of a rundown and pulled him out. And then she showed me and I was just like, oh, it's like, the best way I can explain it is there's nobody there. Like, you can be in a room full of dead people and you don't feel anything. Like, there's nobody there. Whereas you can be in a room with somebody, you know, they may be like in the kitchen and you're sitting on the couch. You may not have looked at them and you may not have acknowledged they've walked in, but you can still feel that there's somebody there.
Yeah.
Whereas in mortuaries or in the fridge, like, for me, I don't feel like there's nobody there. Like, the light, the soul, the energy, whatever you want to call it, whatever you believe in, is gone.
Interesting, actually.
Yeah. So it's like you're just looking at this body, this vessel, this, you know, this lifelong vessel, basically. Yeah. So it was really interesting for me to kind of be like, oh, okay, well, there's nobody there anymore. So it was, I kind of got over that anxiety really quickly when I realised that there's somebody, it is somebody. But whatever we have, that little whatever it is gone.
That energy.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if other morticians feel that way, but that's definitely how I kind of have felt about it from day one. So
strange question. Did that, like, I don't want to use the word comforting, but did that bring you a sense of like,
in a way,
like comfort, like, oh, okay, like it's
not scary. Like, it is just a human. They can't hurt you. Like, you know, there's not that. I don't know, but everyone thinks that, you know, they think dead body, they think scary.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they just think like, they think horror, they think scary, they think terrible, they think, you know, sadness. And while it is sad in a way, it's more of, no, okay, now I'm gonna help this person onto the next, like, okay, they're not there, but it's like the next step in their life for their loved ones that are still here. So it's like, it's really fascinating. It's really interesting. But I was so anxious seeing my first dead body. I'm not going to act all tough like, you know, oh, I'm a big hard girl who likes scary people and scary music. No, I was terrified.
Yeah.
And then even in my first embalming, which I saw on the same day, so I just went, you know, I went heavy in on the first day. They were like, let's just show you everything. Yeah, I was like 20 and I'm like, oh, okay. And like I saw my first embalming and I got woozy. And I think it was because I was so anxious. I'm an anxious person anyway, but I was so anxious and I was so worried about how I was going to take her and if I was going to be able to take it. I worked myself up so much. When it came to it, I was like, oh, okay. And then I like freaked myself out because I was like, what if I can't do it? And then I don't know what I want to do. Like, I'm very like, you know, I think about the future a lot. But, and then I kind of got all woozy and had to sit down for a bit. And the lady was like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. Like, I'm just going through all the motions.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and once I kind of got that out of my system, I had a little bit of I was good. And then from there on, I've been fine. So it's a big deal. Yeah. It was a big deal for me. But now it's like it's things I see weekly. I'm like, oh, okay.
And so because we all have a different idea, and I can guarantee it all comes from movies.
100%.
Probably, yeah.
What does a mortician actually do? What is your actual job? Because we all have an idea of it, but it's what we've seen on movies.
Yeah, I mean, movies are pretty accurate, I guess, just to the extent of how accurate the procedures that they do in mortuaries are probably a little bit skewed. But as a mortician / embalmer, they're two different things. So morticians are in the industry in the company industry that I'm in. Morticians do more of your basic preparation. So, you know, your washing, your dressing, your cosmetics, all that kind of stuff in coffining, whereas your embalmer is a person who preserves the body. So takes all the insides, not all the insides, but all the fluids out and places them with a chemical to preserve the body.
Wow.
So I do both. But as a mortician, you know, the loved one comes into care, you wash them, you fix up anything you need to fix up if they've got any wounds, so you dress and you treat all the wounds, issues that they have, put them back together, dress them, hair and makeup. So a lot of people think that morticians, you walk in and you're just doing pretty much hair and makeup. Hair and makeup is like 5% of the job. The rest of it is really like cleaning them up, fixing them up, getting them to a nice presentable experience. But I have so many people being like, I just did a makeup course and I want to come in and just do the hair and makeup. I'm like, it's good to have that ability and it's good to have that, quality, but you need so much more than that.
Yeah. How interesting. And I didn't even click with the embalmer being different than the mortician as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, we all do the same things. It's just except embalmers just have another qualification where they can actually preserve and treat people. Yeah.
And have you, in your career, is there any ones that have been tough? Like,
Yes.
Has there been peers? Is there any that have been hard to deal with?
I feel like in the job and we all, when I say all, like my team, we all agree that there's definitely deceased and cases that do stick with you. And you do think about them often. As for myself, like I always say this to a lot of people, like you put a little bit of yourself into every person that you kind of get ready. And sometimes you put a little bit more into people and that can affect you. But we do also disconnect so easily. And I think it's more of a protection thing on yourself because you can't take on everything. You can't take on every single person.
Yeah, no, that'd be exhausting.
Yeah. So, and I've been working in the industry for 9 years now.
9 years.
And I work in a very high turnover, I want to say funeral homes. I work for multiple funeral homes. And, I average roughly, 800 to 1,000 bodies a year.
Wow.
So it's
That's a lot.
busy, which is bad because that means people are dying. So it's a high paced, quick environment. But everybody still gets, every person that comes in gets like a lot of care, a lot of time, but it's just a lot. So you can't put yourself into everybody full wholeheartedly and also connect to everybody because you just won't survive.
You'll be exhausted.
Yeah. And in your 9 years, has there, and I'm dying for this question, is there anything that's happened that's been unexplainable?
No. I get this question so many times and I don't know if it's just because I'm not tuned into that. I've worked with people that have had I guess we're going down the spooky path. Have had spooky things happen while they've been in the mortuary or have experienced or have heard stories like that has happened to other morticians, but I may just be oblivious. I wouldn't know if there was a ghost breakdancing on my head. I wouldn't know. I would have no idea. So I personally haven't experienced anything. I've been in the mortuary before where the sensor lights have turned off and I've been left in a room with 100 deceased and I'm like, okay, cool. And I have to do star jumps in the fridge to try and get this, get the lights back on, but
There's going to be some good security footage.
Oh my God.
But so I don't know. I don't have any spooky stories. Sorry.
Do you think that maybe is what has helped you be able to kind of tune out when you need to?
Probably.
That you don't feel that?
Yeah. I just don't feel like the deceased I don't not believe in ghosts. I definitely think that there's something out there. But I personally have never, unfortunately, experienced it. But to be honest, I don't want to because I don't need them sitting at the end of my table, picking on my work while I'm trying to do hair. I don't need them there going, I don't like that. I don't need them telling me what's going on. I'm just going to wait to wherever we end up in the next life. I probably have a line of people going, I don't like pink lipstick and you put that on me. So I already probably have a queue of little old ladies pissed. I hate brown nail polish. I'm sorry, that's what I had, So, but no, fortunately, I haven't had any experiences with, spooky stuff.
That just reminded me, do families, request anything in particular?
Yeah, we get a lot of requests and we'll always, as best as we can, do them. So I've had a lot of deceased families asking me if I can, make them look like Harley Quinn, or can I do gothic makeup, or can we dress them in a Star Wars outfit? I've had Santa before.
No way.
Yeah.
And is this something that the deceased has requested?
Maybe. It could be possibly. All the families want that, but whatever you put down on your loved one's wishes, and we get that from the funeral directors or whatever, we will do to the best of our ability. So I've had some good ones, some fun ones. So I've had people go in cow onesies. No. People go naked. Yeah, like you name it.
Wow. That's incredible. I never even thought about that part. I don't know.
I've heard the makeup side of things, like, they very particular about their makeup, but the outfits, that's,
I love it. I love it when I get, like,
I'm so
cool
planning
stuff.
what I'm going in now.
Write it all down. Put it in your will.
I'm going to dress up full Barbie, Margot Robbie.
Yep.
Yeah, that's me. That's what I'm going.
The shoes and everything.
The shoes and
Everything.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. I mean, you can request whatever you want. Hopefully your family put it through.
So, can I ask, if no one is, because I've only ever been to 2 funerals and quite young, so I don't remember them, but I've never been the family of. So I've never even been in a position to be backstage or, be with the deceased. If no one is seeing the body, so if it is closed casket, no one's seeing it, do you still go to those sorts of lengths? Yep.
So everyone gets treated as if, as if they're having a view. Everyone gets treated equally. Everyone has the same, almost the same care. Obviously, if someone's getting embalmed, they have different care to someone who's just having a prep, but we will treat everybody equally. Everyone gets a spa day, unless they don't want it. Some people don't want it, and that's absolutely fine. Or some families don't want it for their loved ones. They just want to go, we don't want anyone touching him, her.
Right.
We don't want any makeup. We don't want anything done. Please just put them straight in the coffin as they are. And we're happy to do that because it's not for us to decide what people want. If that's what they want, then we're more than happy to kind of just wrap them in their blanket and place them in as they are. So it's really up to the deceased / up to the deceased family on what they want. But we do treat everyone, views, no views, straight to cremation, whatever, the same. Yeah. They all get their little last spa day.
That's cute. I like that idea. And when would someone get embalmed?
I was just about to ask that. Yeah.
So for most cases, if mausoleums, so if people are going into a mausoleum, they have to be fully embalmed by law. In Western Australia, I'm pretty sure that probably scope out a fair bit with the rest of the states in Australia and probably overseas. If they are getting flown overseas, so a lot of people may die in Australia but then want to get buried or cremated in their home country, you do have to be fully embalmed then for health and safety being on an aeroplane. And also if there is a lot of trauma, a lot of restorative work, they're going to be in care for a long time. The family's overseas and they want to, they're coming back in a month and they want to have a view or a funeral. Oh, okay. So there's a preservation, a presentation and like a hygiene factor when it comes to embalming. So finding these days a lot of people are opting for no embalming, which is fine. It's quite an invasive procedure. A lot of chemicals involved. There is like formaldehyde-free versions of chemicals that we can get, but a lot of people just not opting for it anymore, which is fine. It's up to them. It's their choice. It's their body. It's their loved ones. So we just, whatever you want, we kind of accommodate and do and go from there.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a request that you can't? Like a request that you just can't do?
Sometimes, like if people, they may have been found in the peak of summer, 2 weeks after they've passed in a home. Unfortunately, insects can kind of get in and, a body is a piece of meat, at the end of the day. So nature's going to take its toll. It's going to get in there and do its thing. So, there's instances where if someone's been passed for a while in the heat, insects have kind of got in there. Nature's done its thing. There's a lot of decomposition. There's times like that we can't actually do a lot. Yeah. There's ways and tricks and things that we can do to make people presentable, but sometimes it's just too far gone. And we can do things to make there be a viewing, but we would normally recommend not to do that in those instances because it's not going to be a nice, pleasant reminder of that person for you.
Yeah.
So we always will suggest if we think it's not a good idea. But at the end of the day, it is up to the family and we can do what we can do. But it's always hard when we're kind of saying maybe not and the family's like no and we're like okay, sorry.
Oh, you've put the warning out there.
Yeah, that's it.
What would you say is the hardest part of your job that maybe people don't expect?
I guess there is, it's a very physical job. Like it is so physical. You're standing all day, you're rolling people all day. Like it's dead weight. Like they don't help you move. They don't help you dress them. Like you have to move, dress, roll them, everything without. Yeah. So, and you're standing the whole day too. So not only is it like it can be emotional and mentally has a toll on you, but also it's very physical.
Yeah.
So it's a lot on the body. It can be exhausting, especially, you know, if you've got a lot of heavy people that day or it's a lot. It's a lot. It's something I really struggled with when I first started.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Like, in my gym, you know, like I'm rolling all these people. But yeah, it was a lot. Like when I first started, I went for a medical and I've always been a lanky girl. Not the strongest, just very lanky. And for some reason or not, I failed my medical for lifting. So I had to, like, they were like, okay, maybe come back in like 6 months' time. So I was like, right, I'm going to the gym. Yeah. Went to the gym. They're like, you know, what's your goals? I'm like, lift dead people. You know, like, that was my dream. Like, why are you getting PT? Oh, lift dead people up. They're like, okay. Slay queen. Like, you know, like.
That's question.
Yeah. So, yeah, I really put in like the hard yards to get in there. But it is a very physical job. And there is a lot of, there's a lot of things you don't see in the media and in the news that happens in the world, which is confronting and quite sad as well. So you get a lot of, you know, traumatic things that have happened to people and they come in and you got to look after them and you kind of hear the backstory sometimes and you're like, wow, that really sucks that happens in this day and age in this world. Like, yeah, it's pretty crappy. Humans can be pretty crappy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're the scariest thing out there.
100%.
What's the weirdest thing that you've seen or experienced?
But the first thing that kind of comes to mind, which was a recent one, was I was just working, you know, in the mortuary, walked into the fridge and there was just a person sitting up on a stretcher in the fridge. And I was like, yeah. Like, okay, everyone's always got like a nurse that his, you know, uncles, brothers, nurses, sister-in-law has seen a dead body sit up.
Yeah.
Like, it's never true. Bodies don't just sit up on themselves. It's not true. It doesn't happen. But I walked into the fridge and there was, you know, a person on a stretcher sitting up. And I was like, wow, that's something. But it was just, this person had just been, sitting in a bed for years and their spine had actually like fused. So we couldn't actually lay them down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because they were just stuck in this position. And we don't do anything to, like, you know, we don't break bones. Much people think that we break bones and cut things. We don't do any of that. But this person was just stuck in that position because they'd obviously been in that position for such a long time. So they came in and we couldn't lay them down on the stretcher. We couldn't put them in, you know, the location in the refrigeration. So they were just... They had a sheet and stuff over them, looked after them. But, yeah, they were just sitting up. So
what did you do from there?
Well, we still looked after them. We still gave them a wash, still did their hair, did everything. But they had to go in like a custom coffin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is common. We do a lot of custom coffins. So especially with the, you know, the world, everyone's getting bigger. So we do a lot of custom coffins and stuff like that. They just need to be made to order. But, yeah, because of this situation, they had to go in an oversized coffin, so
crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy what big.
I like almost lost my words for a second there.
Yes.
Gosh, just myself trying to comprehend walking in and seeing a dead body like just sat there when you're like, it's not usually how it happens.
If that ever happened, like if a dead body ever sat up in my presence, I would be so gone.
Yeah, I think so.
I'd be like, I'm going to go be a florist. Like, yeah.
And a florist would offer you.
Yeah. Like, I would be so gone. Like, no. I love spooky stuff, but that's too close to home. But no, we just, you know, everybody comes in and everyone's body kind of tells a story. And this person, they just, you know.
That's crazy, yeah.
And do you think working so closely with death has changed your perception on life?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I have very, very dry, dark, somewhat sense of humour. In a way, it makes you live your life to the fullest because anything can happen at the split second. Like, you know, we hear people's stories, we hear their life stories, we hear their death stories. And it does make you realise that anything can happen, like, and you will be in the mortuary. Like, it's just, it's wild. So it has given me, like, a lease on life and a lease on death. Like, I find death very fascinating, interesting, but I have a massive respect for it as well. And I feel like more people need to know about it. So I speak a lot about what I do. I speak a lot about, you know, how it works in the mortuary, because I don't want people to be scared, because it's like, it's a beautiful thing as well.
Yeah.
It's like moving on to whatever's happening, you know, like it's a step we're all going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like the more people know about it, the more people are kind of aware of it. Hopefully there's like some ease into it and not everyone's so scared of it, because not everyone, but a lot of people are scared of it.
Most people are scared of it. Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't want to die. I don't welcome it. But, like, you know, I know enough about it to be like, okay, cool. Like,
It happens.
let's go.
Yeah.
You know, when my time's
Not tomorrow, but
don't ring any like helplines. I'm fine. But, you know, like, it's taboo, but it's going to happen. So I wish people weren't so, you know, hush, don't talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, I want people to be more like aware and interested, and, you know, it's not scary. It's just life.
I wonder what it is that actually makes us scared of death. Is it the way we died, or is it we're so hurt by losses we've had in our life that it's the fear of loss? Whereas I wonder what it is that makes us so scared of death.
I think it's definitely those things, and also just the unknown.
Yeah.
I think it is unknown.
No one knows.
Yeah.
Like, obviously people have had like near-death experiences and they've seen this and they've seen that, but you can believe that and you can have your religions and you can have, you know, your beliefs, but at the end of the day, you've never experienced it, and you're probably going to experience it once.
Yeah,
so it's like, who knows?
It's a little bit exciting.
It's a little bit exciting.
Well, excited now.
Yeah.
If I come back as an animal, I've been trying to think. I think if you're a cat in a good house, it'd be a pretty good life.
That's exactly where I go. I'm a cat. Give me a cat.
You know, with a shitty family.
No, preferably not.
Or in a shelter or something.
Yeah. Spoiled cat.
Yeah. A fat cat rolling around the house.
Not my cat.
Is there anything you wish people knew more about death or funerals? You know, you don't want them to be scared and like those open conversations. Is there anything else? Like, I think my biggest fear at the moment is everyone talks about how goddamn expensive it is.
Oh, it is so expensive, yeah. I feel, I don't know, it's just such a tricky conversation, but I feel like you need to be prepared at any age. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we think, you know, oh, I'm young, I don't have to worry about it. But you do. Like, you do have to have all of your ducks in a row for if that happens to happen, because you don't want to leave your families, like, not knowing what you want. Like, obviously you want to go as Barbie. Does everyone know you want to go as Barbie? Because if not,
I think so.
like, you might end up in, like, your daggy trackies, which is also fine. But, you know, like, that's one thing, is just have the conversations about what you want, because, you know, I have lost someone close to me. My father passed, and he had to do that on the day that I was leaving to go to Europe for a month. Anyway, thanks, Dad. But, you know, like, he had actually spoken to me about, you know, what he wanted. He'd spoken to my family about what they wanted. So it was quite easy for us to organise that in such a shitty time.
Yeah.
So it's even though it's tricky conversations, and I hound my mum and, like, my stepdad, and I'm like, hey, tell me what you want. It's like, it's fascinating too. Like, I'd love to know what music you want played at your funeral. Like, I want to, you know, it really is like a massive, like, you thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like it's good to have the conversation so you can have your final, like, party, your final goodbye, and your family aren't sitting there going, we don't know what to do.
Yeah, I think from a personal experience, it kind of takes away from you're trying to grieve.
Yeah.
I think about that person, but then you're in, like, active mode of, like, what do they want?
Yeah.
Respect all their wishes. Make sure you make them happy. Like, you're going through all of that because you've got no idea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, you need to just have the conversations, have the hard conversations, because no one wants to talk about it. No one wants to accept that it's going to happen. Like, it's going to happen to everybody. But you don't want to sit there and talk about it with your mum. Like, you don't want your mum to die. You don't want your dad to die, you know, but it's going to happen, and it's good to kind of be a little bit organised. But also, you know, make it a thing.
I was just going to say, having it like this, where you're actually, like, open the conversation where this is what other people have, and then that makes you go, oh, actually, this is, like, the last celebration, what I enjoy, who I am, and I can go out with a fucking bang.
Yeah.
As long as, you know, like...
We have so many people that want it to be, like, you know, a remembrance of life, not this person's died.
Yeah.
So instead of it being like, obviously it's sad because you're losing somebody, you've lost somebody who means a lot to you, but, like, also celebrate the life that they had.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we've all had, like, you know, we've all got trauma, we've all got this, but we've also done a lot of cool shit.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice to celebrate that person.
Yeah.
It's sad they're gone, but make it like a
Remember the good things. Yeah.
That's my take on it. I mean, if you want to be sad and cry, then that's
I've always
fine
thought
too.
the same thing. Even for myself, I've always like, cremate me and have a party.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't have to have a funeral. Like we have a lot of people that will, just request to be cremated and then their ashes get picked up by their family and they have huge parties at home. So there is options where you don't need to have funerals. Like it's not,
Yeah, I never even thought of it that way too. Because I can sit in that room where you go and I've just remembered we've actually been to a funeral together. I could sit in that room, and I have been to a funeral of someone I've never met before. It was actually Hayden's grandma. I bawled my eyes out the entire time. Yeah. Like it's just something about being in that room. I think lots of them are so like, I'm going to say traditional.
Yeah.
Where they just sort of just do the norm and let's make it more fun.
Yeah. Let's have a laugh.
Yeah, let's have a laugh.
Yeah. Laughing at the deceased, but I mean, you can.
Laugh at me,
like, there's a lot of dumb shit I've done that you can definitely bring up at my funeral and be like, yeah, remember this? And I'll be like, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, go on. Just,
All the photos.
All the photos. Like, it's fine. One last dig, it's fine. Like,
before we wrap up, you had a great question, and I'm going to let you ask it. It's a short, quick one, and we just ended on a really positive note, but I do think it's one that everyone is going to be thinking about.
Well, yeah, you asked me if there's one question when I said, does it smell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very smelly job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's also a lot of poop and a lot of wee involved.
Because you do evacuate everything when you die, don't you?
Mostly, sometimes, a lot of the time, yes. So a lot of people do ask me, they're like, what's the job? I'm like, 60% poo, 40% really? Nice. But yeah, it is. It's not a glamorous job.
Yeah.
A lot of people think, I go in, I'm going to do curls and, but there is a lot of there's a lot of bodily functions that kind of happen and stop happening when you die. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, but then you've got me. I sort it all out, clean it all up, freshen you up. So there's a lot of us there that love what we do. We take a lot of care when we look after people. So we'll sort it all out for you. Lots of dignity and depth when it comes to us and our team. We'll look after you. So.
Yeah, that's amazing. And if you had any advice for someone that was like, that sounds pretty fucking cool. I'm all over that. If there was anyone that's in your position when you're in your late teens, what advice would you have for them?
Just get life experience. That's what they told me when I first started applying. Get life experience. Start at the bottom. Go in there and start, sweeping floors.
Yeah.
Driving hearses, I started when I couldn't get into the mortuary straight up because it is a very there isn't very many of us. There isn't very many mortuaries. I'm just speaking about Perth in particular. But once people are in, they don't leave because it's very hard to get into the mortuary. And you just got to start where you can. So I started as an FDA, which is a funeral director's assistant, and I was just helping on funerals. I was doing bits and pieces. I then went into the admin side of stuff and was waiting for a position to open up. And they let me in, and I've been in there ever since. So it really is just be, positive, helpful, start where you can, work your way in, earn your stripes, as I always say, and go from there. There isn't really a lot of courses you can do in Perth when it comes to embalming or mortuary care. But it's good to kind of read up, know what you're getting into. There's a lot of YouTube videos out there. Know what you're getting into if you can actually handle it, because a lot of people come in thinking this is for them and then they spend a day and they go, it's not for me, which is 100% fine also, because you don't know until you get in. And it's a tricky position because you won't know until you're in there, and then you've got to get in there to kind of know.
Yeah.
Don't give up. I didn't give up. It took me 5 years and I finally got in. So, and I don't know what else I would do. I have no idea.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I must say this has been the most interesting
for sure
conversation we've had so far. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Having me.
And we will see you all on the next podcast.
Yeah, I'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you loved this episode, don't forget to hit follow or subscribe so you never miss a chat.
And we love seeing where you're listening. Tag us in your stories at Bras Off Walls Down and let us know your favourite takeaway.
Got a question or a topic you want us to cover? Slide into our DMs. We love hearing from you.
See you next time.